शुरू से कंटिन्यू करेगा, वो भी 2 हफ्ता मिनिमम पकड़ लीजिए।
हाँ, मैंने डिस्कशन भी चालू हो गया, ज्वाइन कर लीजिए।
वही आपका खाली मिला है फिर जिसमें मैं आपको चाह रहा था
So now we are in our last session, discussions and question and answer session. So it's a request to the speakers. So in this panel discussions, our moderator is Dr. S.K. Shamanto, our honorable advisor, TRAI Regional Office, Kolkata. And in this panel discussions, we have our panelists, sir, Sri Manoj Kumar, Director IT and Government and eGov, Government of Jharkhand. Sri Utpal Sharma, Special Secretary IT, Andaman and Nicobar Island, Union Territory. Sri Kaushik Mukherjee, Director Rural, DOT, WBLSA. Sri K.N. Rai, Director DOT Telecom, Bihar LSA. Mr. Subrata Mitra, VP and Head, Government and Industry Relations, Ericsson India. And Mr. Manoj Kumar Singh, CTO and Head, CSR Indus Tower. So we cordially welcome all our panelists in this session. So I am handing over the session to Dr. Shamanta, sir.
Amit. Amit, I think better we just try to ask other panel members to join. And Mr. Datta, can you just try others to join?
Yes, sir.
No, we have to get the other panel members to join. No, Amit, can you try with this Indus and?
Yes, sir, just trying.
Manoj Kumar ji from Government of Jharkhand, please आप आपका unmute कीजिए.
So it's a kind request to our panelists. Sri K.N. Rai ji, please unmute yourself. Sri Manoj Kumar ji, and it's a request to Arvind Kumar Chaudhary ji, sir, please unmute yourself.
No, in place of Arvind Kumar ji, there is one senior officer from Bihar. So
Mr. Prabhat Kumar, perhaps. So welcome, Mr. Mitra, after a long time.
Pleasure, sir. Always good to attend. I was attending and hearing all the presentations. Some very nice interventions. Very good presentation from Nokia, IIT. A lot to learn. Always a lot to learn in TRAI sessions.
Yes, sir.
Pleasure
and
to be here.
Just you have participated in that mobile congress, na, in Barcelona also. So we'll
Yes,
share your
I
views.
think.
So thanks a lot.
Yes,
thanks a lot for joining with us. Please stay with us. Sir, shall we start?
No, one member from Bihar, Jitendra Pratap ji, is supposed to join.
Mr. Manoj Kumar from Indus, he is trying to join. Just wait for another 2-3 minutes.
Sure.
मतलब हाँ ओके चलो this is Manoj Kumar ji from Bihar, and we are expecting one Manoj Kumar Singh from Indus.
Yes, sir. He is here to join.
Can you just try to call him? Raisha.
Yes, sir.
So I think we can start. Kaushik.
Yes, please. Yeah.
So basically, we are just expecting for one more expert. He's from Indus, and we have got the expert Mr. Mitra from Ericsson, and we have the representative from Department of IT, Government of Bihar, and Department of IT, Government of Jharkhand. The Special Secretary IT, Andaman Nicobar Union Territory, because of urgent some Egypt, he is not able to join. Some of the officials from his department was expected to join. So I think they will join. What about Indus? Amit?
Sir, they are trying to join. He's trying to join. I talked with him. Okay. So we can start. In the meantime, he can join.
Okay. Just 1 minute, just 1 minute. So we are again sorry because there is certain technical issues. As soon as we are changing from one session to another session, the participants, those who are watching through YouTube channel, are getting disconnected. So anyway, we are sorry for it. Next time we see that this is not happening. So I will just now welcome our Director, Department of Telecom, Sri Mukherjee, Director, Department of Telecom, Bihar and Jharkhand State, Sri K.M. Rai, and Sri Manoj Kumar, Director, Department of IT and Governance, Government of Jharkhand, and our, I am sorry, the representative from Bihar, Jitendra Pratap ji. I am extremely sorry. So Jitendra Pratap ji is representing IT department, Bihar government, because of the special secretary has some urgent meeting, and we are still expecting some representative from IT department, Andaman Nicobar Union Territory, as well as the one representative from Indus Tower, Manoj Kumar Singh. So let us basically, the purpose of this panel discussion is to be very clear that as we have seen from the different lectures, that there is a need for close interaction between state government departments like, say, especially urban development department, municipal departments, IT departments. Now, different state might have or might be doing the telecom part, IT and telecom part in a different way, but we are understanding that for every state, the Ministry of IT is the nodal unit, and so far TSPs or any other department, they are coordinating with the IT department. So I personally feel the IT department still need to play a pivotal role and should be the main coordinator for future technologies, be it 5G or 6G. And we just want to discuss here that what is the possible ways 5G can be deployed very expeditiously, I should say that very quickly, especially in big cities like Calcutta, like Ranchi, like Patna. I know that some initiative has been taken during the Patna Smart City project. Some initiative has been taken by state government for your Ranchi Smart City project. So we requested them also to join. Possibly they might have joined, or because of our platform issues they could not join. We are sorry for that. Next time we will do at state level. Now, basically we need to understand through these discussions that how the TSPs or infrastructure provider can go ahead utilizing street furnitures, especially as on date, whatever we have learned from our Assis Ji from ATC, that if there is a 1 square kilometer area of a city, They are deploying around 400 such small cells in the street light poles. And if you see that if you have to connect them with optical fiber cable, the load on your poles will be more, will be increasing more. So area OFC on the light poles, along with whatever he is telling about 75 kg of weight, I think this is not a workable solution. This is not a workable solution, and it will make city like more ugly. It will make a city like more ugly. So what I am looking like, say last time we had a discussion with the Kolkata Municipal Corporation. We wanted that this is the thinking. This is my personal thinking. This is not the TRI view. Okay, let it be very clear. This is my personal thinking. This is not the TRI view. So there could be a possibility that there will be a company under Companies Act, and that company will be formed by say municipal department. When I put this proposal to Kolkata Municipal Commissioner, he said, look, this is not our business. We are too busy with the corporation's other affairs and activities. Rather, you ask one infrastructure provider, they will be doing the infrastructure. Like say, if the existing pole is to be strengthened, they will do the strengthening. If the existing pole is to be replaced, they will replace. If the poles to poles connectivity is to be made underground through some duct, they will make the duct. And once they have done it, then they will sell it, and there will be kind of revenue sharing arrangement between the municipal corporation and the infrastructure provider. So we have an expert now, at least field expert is our Mitra Sahib is there. The Indus person, Amit, you could not get the Indus person, no?
I'm still trying, sir.
Okay. So, Mitra sir, I know that Ericsson is leader because when I was in BSNL corporate office, Ericsson jointly with Philips was making some light poles. And I don't know whether Ericsson is still in that business or not, or Ericsson is now outsourcing the poles, I don't know. But you suggest how we should go ahead, how we means the Department of Telecom, the TRAI, state government, municipal departments, how they should go ahead or go forward, such that at least in Eastern region, like say, I am very sorry to say in this open platform that TRI is doing some case studies for 5 cities, but they have not taken actually case studies in an educational environment. They have not taken a case studies in a healthcare environment. They have not taken a case studies in the agricultural environment. So something is to be done in that direction, and how we can go ahead with this. So if you can put through some light, Mitra sir.
Yeah. Thank you, Samantaji. Thank you, Nilay. Thanks for the opportunity to participate and share my thoughts. At the outset, I hope you all continue to remain safe and healthy during the crisis. It's still not completely over. And I think before I start, I must thank the entire telecom sector led by the Department of Telecom and its officials who have ensured, and the industry, the operators, the OEMs, the tower companies, IP1 vendors, who ensured that during this entire crisis, the telecom networks kept running. While as a nation, we have thanked the healthcare workers and everyone enough. I think a word of recognition for the telecom sector is essential, because when the entire, we were all in a lockdown mode, I think the mobile sector and everyone involved ensured that the economy kept running. And why I'm coming from that in the 5G context is, lot of us, including in the industry, we assumed lot of things will not happen or will take a lot of time. For example, children could attend e-learning classes We assumed that this will be only some specific classes. We assumed this will be typically a faculty abroad, or for example, faculty in IIT Kharagpur, maybe teaching children, say somewhere in Jharkhand. So that's the reason. We never thought you could be in a scenario where your teacher is just 5 kilometers away and you are sitting in your home and doing a class, attending that. And it could be a primary school child, it could be a higher school children, it could be even a college or anyone. Just a small example. Our entire work, at least I can speak for ITS, a lot of companies actually work from home. People work from home, economy continued, minimum people. I think what I'm alluding to the fact is that the power of telecommunications was, especially mobile communications, demonstrated what it can be done. And this will only increase manyfold going forward in 5G. And I think that's where the role of the state governments, urban local bodies, and everyone comes in. How can we help in the very fast rollout of 5G network? Speakers before have mentioned that 5G, obviously it is going to be in 3.5 gigahertz mid band and millimeter wave. We will need, the network is going to become more dense. You are hearing that it's going to be a lot more denser network. We will not only the radio parts of the network, you will also need a very strong robust backhaul fiber to connect all these sites, whether it is a your basic primary BTS site, or whether it is a street pole or a bus shelter or others what we have heard. It will be essential to bring fiber there. In some cases you could have a microwave backhaul, but if you can bring fiber there, it will help. And this is where the role of the local authorities, whether it's a government, municipal corporation, and other comes in, that how do you facilitate to in the very fast rollout of the network. In this, I can suggest that you had a lot of governments in different parts of the world are. This has been a learning process for all. So let me not, say that others have done it and we'll find it difficult. No, even whether it is in the US, Japan, Korea, wherever the networks are getting rolled out 5G, I think the local governments are playing a significant role, and I see the same will come here. It will be our suggestion would be that when the network rolls out, there is a pace at which the network has to be rolled out. If these permissions could be given upfront to the TSPs, IP1 vendors, and others for rolling out, and then they, for example, just keep on, reporting that this is where you have deployed, it will be much easier. Second is obviously the permissions to deploy has to be, very fast. We cannot have long duration, so possibly making all the systems online. There is an effort by the government, DOT is leading it, where they are trying to get all these systems in an online fashion. I think that will help. Second is wherever you have to strengthen the street pole or other infrastructure that we mentioned, bus shelter and all. We may have to harden the infrastructure to load this telecom equipment, protect the equipment not only from weather and other elements, but also from security. You'll have to provide those enclosures. How do you strengthen that in a very quick time frame? So you will have, for example, the bus shelters are with the transport corporations, and similarly there are other infrastructure in the city, on which you will load this telecom infrastructure. So that's where a role comes in. And I will personally suggest, this is my personal view, it is ideal if a state has a some kind of a monitoring committee, led ideally by, say, in this case I agree with Dr. Samanta ji said that IT departments are, taking this initiative. There is no telecom department in the state. So if it can be a committee at the level of this principal secretary, IT in each state, and there could be a committee represented from all the ministries whose permissions are needed, and the TSPs, operators, and the IP1 vendors. I have seen my friend Manoj here. It will help in very fast coordination of, and rolling out of permissions. Because see, one thing what is very important is that now there is enough evidence that 5G is not just meant as a communication technology. Enough has been said. It is actually a horizontal technology which will help transformation of different industries. And first 2 years back when 5G was launched, people said this is only relevant for some sectors, not all. But today, if you see, right from agriculture to almost animal husbandry, to your manufacturing, to your ports, logistics, everyone is actually deploying 5G. And similarly, when you come on the consumer part is just about starting. And this the I'm again coming back to my point. In the last 2 years, the pace at which human beings have absorbed technology in terms of this entire consumer behavior change of for example working on the screen, or like for example we are having this conversation. Believe me, 3 years back, if TRAI Kolkata would have done this, we would have all flown down and we would have had this physical discussion. But 3 years later, this is not acceptable. You have hundreds of people who are attending this and doing this. So this will happen more and more in the consumer. You will have a lot of offerings coming up from startups, and they will demand a network which is very robust, which is able to give the kind of services which the consumers demand. And for that, deploying the network seamless manner in this will come. You will for example find I'm just referring to the street pole, electric poles. How do you ensure that the equipments are well protected? How do you ensure similarly when for example an IP1 someone like Manoj or our engineers have to reach the site, how they can for example climb it and fix it? What is I'm giving a very simple process. How quickly can get their permission from say the electricity department to climb the pole? Not just fix for the first time. For example, they have to do a repair. What is the process defined? Now, if you say it is going to take, say, 24 or 48 hours to get the approval for the engineer to climb and fix it, then, and let's say something is, needs to be replaced or fixed, and if you say 48 hours is the turnaround time, that means in that area for 48 hours service will be, disconnected, or consumers will not enjoy. So you will have to find ways and mechanisms of how we use online approvals and how all these different bodies within the state can integrate, and you can have a seamless flow. What I'm suggesting is that when the operator or IP1 vendors or OEMs put in a permission request, if that workflow happens seamlessly without visiting multiple office for permissions, you will see that it will significantly translate. And today I am convinced that as part of e-governance, in whether it is at the center or at the states or municipal corporations, there is enough e-governance which has happened, and there is a benefit which people are seeing. Without going to a place, I can get a birth certificate, I can get other things. So similarly, if such permissions can be given to IP1 companies, TSPs and all, to roll out the network, it will significantly help. And the last point before I switch is that if all these locations can be identified, if they can be GPS tagged and all, that will help significantly operators, IP1 companies and us. When you do a network planning, you exactly know where these infrastructure is available for you to do the network planning. And that's where I believe there is a central government initiative of getting all these on the Gati Shakti program of getting this GPS lat long coordinates there, so that when you roll out a network, you exactly know that this infrastructure is there, this is available, what is the current thing. There is a DOT portal, Tarang Sanchar, which is already there, where this information is available. If you can add these sites which are available, it will help in a better network planning. I think those preparatory work we can start without waiting for when the 5G auction will happen, when the network will begin. But if these preparatory activities can be initiated immediately, we whether it's a state or as a nation, will be much better prepared to roll out the network. I will pause here before I give the floor back to Dr. Samantha. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mitra. Actually, it's a very, very, I think, suggestion I have actually noted. I have noted that there should be a committee under the Principal Secretary IT with all the government department and DOT together, and then they should define the process. And that is the very, very vital things. And the process is to be defined. That how it should be going forward. So इसमें मैं एक जस्ट सिंपल रिक्वेस्ट करना चाहूँगा जितेंद्र प्रताप जी फ्रॉम बिहार सर, ये जो पटना में जो स्मार्ट सिटी का कुछ काम हुआ था
सर,
इसमें डिड दे यूज एनी लाइट पोल्स और समथिंग लाइक दिस? कुछ किया है क्या इन्होंने?
सर अभी तो स्टार्टिंग फेज में है, अभी ग्राउंड पे
अच्छा।
स्टार्ट नहीं हुआ है सर।
So are there any discussions going on that how they are going to make the Patna city smart and beautiful?
नहीं सर, अभी तो LOI इशू हुआ है सर, अभी स्टार्टिंग फेज में है।
अच्छा, डिस्कशन अभी तक चालू नहीं हुआ तो
नहीं सर।
क्योंकि पटना में भी तो ऐसा होगा जैसे कलकत्ता में है ना, हर एक रोड के ऊपर 50-50 करके केबल जा रहा है एंड इट लुक्स सो अगली।
राइट सर।
हाँ,
Sir,
तो इस लाइन में कोई
this
डिस्कशन नहीं हो रहा है।
sir, are you getting my voice?
Yes sir, I am getting your voice.
Sir, actually, this entire thing is required to be governed or monitored by DOT. Then only it will happen, because number of states are there. If common portal or something should be there, so that ROW type things are taken care very well. Some coordination mechanism is required between at national and state level, because different type of state they are having different type of approach in 6G,
राय
5G.
साहब आप सही कह रहे हैं, मतलब either there should be a committee which will be headed by state government official, or a committee where DOT and state government they should be having a joint I should say membership, maybe 2-3 officers from DOT and maybe 2
No, my point is that committee
officers. But what Mr. Mitra was telling that earlier all the activities.
No, my point is different. My point is committee or steering committee and all. Okay, some online platform should be there from where one can see that what is the position of ROW when it was applied. All the, because 5G you will require that all the furnitures of a street like poles, bus stands, everything will be used. In that case, someone is applying for ROW, then there should be some time limit. Like in Saral Sanchar portal, we are using, you are issuing this PDOA and all 7 days. If it is no objection is there, then automatic this approval is there. Such type of arrangement is required to be done if we really want to do something.
No, Rai sahab, आप जो कह रहा है, we are not denying that is absolutely must. बट मित्रा जी जो बोल रहा था, जो एक्चुअली एक प्रोसेस डिफाइन करना होगा, जैसा मान लीजिए किसी को एक लाइट पोल लेना है, नाउ देन देयर आर लॉट ऑफ प्रोसेस। पहले तो चेक करना है उस लाइट पोल में वो कितना सामान लगाएगा, विंड लोड कितना होगा, केबल अंडरग्राउंड लेगा क्या केबल ओवरहेड लेगा। सो ऑल दीज इश्यूज देखने के बाद वेदर द एग्जिस्टिंग लाइट पोल इज सुटेबल टू टेक द लोड और नॉट, अगर उसको स्ट्रेंथनिंग करना पड़ेगा कि नहीं करना पड़ेगा, करना पड़ेगा तो कौन करेगा, करेगा तो कॉस्ट कैसे आएगा। सो व्हाटएवर प्रोसेस मित्रा जी बोल रहा है, सो दिस प्रोसेस को डिफाइन करने के लिए भी एक कमिटी होना चाहिए। बिकॉज लाइक से आई वाज सरप्राइज दैट कोलकाता म्युनिसिपल कॉर्पोरेशन का जो लाइट पोल्स है दैट इज अंडर कोलकाता म्युनिसिपल कॉर्पोरेशन इटसेल्फ, इट इज नॉट एनी पावर डिपार्टमेंट। तो नेचुरली ये जो इश्यूज है इसको पहले प्रोसेस डिफाइन करना पड़ेगा, वर्क डिफाइन करना पड़ेगा, एंड देन डेफिनेटली ऑनलाइन पोर्टल तो मस्ट है। There could be maybe 20 process to get the ROW or permission for a specific street light pole to be used for 5G deployment. But then a 50 जो process है इसको write down करना पड़ेगा। Write down करने के लिए there is a need to sit with all the inter departments. Urban development departments होगा, municipal affairs होगा, आपका electrical department होगा। So if we concentrate initially only on the municipalities like Patna municipalities, Ranchi municipalities, Kolkata municipalities, Port Blair municipalities, तो definitely I am sure तो कुछ दिशा आएगा। तो इसमें राय साहब बताइए या मुखर्जी साहब है, मुखर्जी साहब आप बताइए इसको हम कैसे कर सकते हैं।
Yeah, thank you. Am I audible?
Yes.
Acha, very nicely Mr. Mitra has summarized the key points and the punch points. As regards my thinking goes on the topic, there are basically two aspects you can say. One is the commercial part and is the technical part. Now, if you look at the commercial part, which I feel is the greatest bottleneck on this aspect, like we are telling about ROW. Mr. Kendra has rightly told that ROW portal is required, and just for the information of the forum, let me tell you that the centralized ROW will be inaugurated by Secretary probably on 31st of March this year. And he will be boarding. All the states are already there. We are slowly, couple of the states are not yet boarded, but it will be, we are trying that all of them will be boarded. But the basic idea was that the ROW policy of central government, which was gazette notification, was done in 2016 and followed up with the ROW notification by various states from time to time. At that time, this vision of this small cell deployment was probably not there. So we have made a very, let us say, not very precise estimate of what could be the impact of this. There are financial implications like for every tower, 10,000 rupees, and for every kilometer of OFC laid, 1,000. But now, if you look at a threefold or a fourfold increase in the number of towers of BTS, let me be very frank on the issue. The state government departments are eyeing that a lot of money is involved there. So if they were initially charging 10,000 rupees per site, I don't know, as there was some discussion. In fact, likely Mr. Secretary.
Kaushik, I just want to just correct you. It's not that the money what they are looking for.
No.
Okay. Let me correct you. Basically, issues. There are issues. In the sense, like I told you that we had a discussion with the commissioner, Calcutta Commission.
Yeah.
They says we are not in the business of telecom. We don't have time to do it.
I agree. That I agree.
So for them, maybe 10,000 rupees they are asking for the administrative purpose. They are not definitely asking for the income or something like this.
No, but
otherwise they could have said, okay, we are going for the business and we'll earn.
No, this is a big issue. Anyway, I'm just telling my, you see, this will be a big issue later on. As Amitabh Sahab has rightly told, some easy policy formulation is very much required, because everyone will be eyeing that amount of commercial aspect is there. And rightly, you have told one thing, that regarding KMC, and what you are telling is, that there are multiple agencies involved. And though IT is acting as a pivotal, let us say, ministry in the respective state departments, but all said and done, let us say, there is not too much homogeneity in that or coherence in that group. So I know particularly in West Bengal, I've been in touch with a couple of other departments also. As you already told, nobody seems to be very much interested, because they tell that is not our primary focus areas. So this is another, I think, key aspect which needs to be looked upon. And again, one from KMC angle point of view, you also know in Kolkata recently a drive has been launched for cleaning the city. All these overhead, redundant wires, etc., that is hanging here and there. Many of the operators have been told to clear it out. Now, with this, all this, whatever overhead which we are planning now, it's so much. This is another. Somebody has rightly told in the presentation that they are trying to put it in a very nicely decorated way, because in a bigger cities this is a very bad shape, as you told. That's a very ugly shape. Now, this is also to be taken care of. How beautifully we can dress the entire thing so that it looks clean. Particularly, we are having the new development areas like Navadiganto, that is basically New Town area, Rajanat area, where mostly things are underground. So there it will be another challenge, how do we put up and use that street furniture. And once again, I say that first and the foremost is the policy formulation from the, let us say, as Mr. Kendra has told, some sort of joint venture type thing, or required from state as well as the central, because unless the initial bottleneck is local, technical side can be taken care of later on, whether it's a 10 kg antenna or can reduce to 5 kg antenna, that can be done. But unless the basic problem is that what exactly is to be done, how the permission can be accorded in the quickest possible time so that the rollout can happen within the next 6 days. I once again tell you, because I know ins and out, I have been in touch with the State Department since our BBNL days. Even for the policy formulation in West Bengal, it took a lot of time because of the issues, particularly the financial implications. So this is...
I fully agree with Kaushik Saab. Actually, technical things are different. All regulatory things are more important, which should be monitored by DOT. DOT has to take a lead, and some portal should be developed where directly applications can be done and status of application can be monitored. Unless we are doing that, ये होना पड़ेगा किसी तरह से.
ये पोर्टल अभी थोड़ा वो जैसे मैं बता रहा था, ये ऑलरेडी हो जाएगा फर्स्ट अप्रैल से सुगम प्रचार में, और वो हो जाएगा. लेकिन उसमें 5G को कैसे इंटीग्रेट करें और उसको कैसे किया जाए,
5G को कैसे इंटीग्रेट, वही मैं बोल रहा हूँ, क्योंकि बहुत सारे पोल्स आएंगे, फर्नीचर्स आएंगे, उनको किस तरह से इनकॉर्पोरेट किया जाए, दैट इज रिक्वायर्ड टू बी मॉनिटर्ड. पेंडिंग पड़ा है क्या है
राय साहब एंड मुखर्जी साहब, एक्चुअली आप दोनों को हम लोग वही बोल रहे हैं, जो बिकॉज ऑफ द ROW जो पहले बनाया था, पोर्टल जो पहले बना था, उसका जो प्रोसेस स्ट्रक्चर है एक टावर लगाने का प्रोसेस स्ट्रक्चर और एग्जिस्टिंग इलेक्ट्रिक वेयर पोल पे एक स्मॉल सेल लगाने का जो प्रोसेस स्ट्रक्चर है एंड एजेंसीज इन्वॉल्व है, द डायमेंशन इज कंप्लीटली डिफरेंट एंड वेरी वेरी कॉम्प्लेक्स। तो मित्रा जी जो बोल रहे हैं मैं उनके साथ मतलब जस्ट एग्री कर रहा हूँ। आई जस्ट वांट टू हियर समथिंग फ्रॉम अवर मनोज कुमार सिंह जी फ्रॉम इंडस टावर। मनोज कुमार सिंह जी फ्रॉम इंडस टावर, आपने तो कुछ 2-4 जगह में लगाया होगा, तो आपका एक्सपीरियंस क्या है, क्या हमको करना चाहिए? सचना तुरंत हम लोग कुछ दिखा सकता है इन वेस्ट बंगाल, बिहार एंड झारखंड में, स्पेशली इन रांची, पटना एंड कोलकाता सिटी में? आप बताइए क्या कर सकते तुरंत?
So thank you, Dr. Swadesh, and thank you for inviting me. Am I audible?
Yes, please.
Yeah. So before I come to the specific question which you asked, that what we have done and what can be shared accordingly. So मेरा उसके पहले एक जो कहना है वो ये है कि जब हम 5G के इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर की बात करते हैं जो स्मॉल सेल के साथ भी है, उसमें अभी आज की डेट में जो बहुत बड़ा कंफ्यूजन है जो पहले रिजॉल्व करना है कि वेदर द ओनर ऑफ दोज स्ट्रीट फर्नीचर्स are enabled to offer their street furniture for the 5G rollouts or not. Say for example from where I am coming in is, आज डिस्कॉम के पोल ओनर को ये नहीं पता है कि वो अपना पोल टेलीकॉम इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर के लिए ऑफर कर सकता है कि नहीं कर सकता है, पहला सवाल है। ठीक है, बिकॉज यदि आप थोड़ा सा डिस्कॉम से बात करेंगे, जैसा कि मैंने अभी थोड़े दिन पहले PWD से बात किया, तो उसमें भी ये निकल के आया कि इन मेनी केसेस द स्ट्रीट लाइट पोल इटसेल्फ इज ओन्ड बाय वेरियस यू कैन से एजेंसीज डिपेंडिंग अपॉन द विड्थ ऑफ द रोड। यदि 50 मीटर से ज्यादा है तो स्ट्रीट लाइट पोल इज ओन्ड बाय PWD, 50 मीटर से कम है तो स्ट्रीट लाइट पोल इज ओन्ड बाय डिस्कॉम्स, and there is one more model in which the PWD lease out the street light pole to the discom for specific use of street light only. In that case the discoms are not very clear कि हम आपको दे भी सकते हैं कि नहीं दे सकते हैं। तो दिस इज पॉइंट नंबर 1। तो इसलिए मैंने जो अपना पहला पॉइंट रिस्पॉन्स में लिखा हुआ है डॉक्टर स्वदेश, वो ये लिखा हुआ है कि हमको जो स्ट्रीट फर्नीचर्स के ओनर हैं उनको पॉलिसी से इनेबल करना पड़ेगा, यू कैन ऑफर योर एग्जिस्टिंग स्ट्रीट फर्नीचर फॉर टेलीकॉम पर infrastructure layout. That is the point number 1. Coming back to very specific before I go to the next point कि हमने क्या किया है, तो भोपाल में हमने कुछ स्ट्रीट लाइट पोल्स पे अपना स्ट्रीट फर्नीचर डिप्लॉय किया। बस उसमें हमने ये किया कि उनके जो स्ट्रीट लाइट पोल थे उन टर्म्स ऑफ स्पेसिफिकेशन एंड ऑल्सो इन टर्म्स ऑफ हाइट वर नॉट मीटिंग आवर रिक्वायरमेंट, सो वी रिप्लेस्ड द स्ट्रीट लाइट पोल्स with respect to the height as well as to accommodate the you can say our infrastructure. So this is one sort of model which we have done.
ये तो हो गया।
On the second,
am
I audible?
Can refer to the employee's copy of
Somebody is also speaking finally.
From Annama and Mr. Mihir, can you please mute temporarily?
थैंक यू सर। सर दूसरा इसमें जो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट है वो ये है कि हमको अभी जो मूविंग फॉरवर्ड, देयर आर टू व्हाट वी हैव डिसाइडेड, वी हैव एक्चुअली डिसाइडेड द होल प्रॉब्लम इनटू 2, हाउ टू हैंडल द लेगेसी इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर एंड व्हाट इज मूविंग फॉरवर्ड। एवरीथिंग कैन नॉट बी लेगेसी। तो अभी ये जो हमने थोड़ी देर पहले बोला कि हाउ टू इंटीग्रेट द एक्जिस्टिंग इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर इनेबलिंग टू डिप्लॉय द 5G इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, व्हाट आई इनेबल्ड। द सेकंड सर इज very important is moving forward. What we have to do, we have to actually get engaged with, you can say, Ministry of Urban Development, Ministry of Power, Ministry of Railways, Ministry of State Road Transportation, so that moving forward, जिसकी वजह से हमने भी आपको PWD की मीटिंग का भी एक रेफरेंस दिया कि मूविंग फॉरवर्ड जो उनका इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर डिप्लॉय हो रहा है, that should be inbuilt, integrated, ready to accommodate our 5G infrastructure. ये रेट्रोफिटिंग कितने दिन तक चलेगी? If I show you the you can say pictures of Bhopal smart city in which we retrofitted our small cells into the bus shelter, let me say by my own that it doesn't look aesthetically so good. It is not that smart city.
हम भी देखना चाहते हैं कि तो दिखाइए अगर है तो पिक्चर।
तो सर मैं शेयर कर दूंगा सर, एंड प्रोबब्ली यू कैन सर्कुलेट। इट इज नॉट रेडली, इट इज इन माय मोबाइल।
ओके, नो प्रॉब्लम।
सो मैं बिल्कुल शेयर करूंगा डॉक्टर स्वदेश आपको मैं। So let me tell you before you comment on it that it doesn't look like a smart city. So moving forward, हमको aesthetically थोड़ा सा अब simultaneously I will share a picture of what we have deployed at Connaught Place in Delhi. जो I think Subrata is aware of it, जिसमें हमने stainless steel के poles लगाए हैं. So that also we will share. So the important point here is that we have to engage with the, you can say, agencies who are making standards and specifications of the street furniture, so that these street furnitures moving forward are capable to accommodate our infrastructures into it. So that is one. And the next point which probably I am coming to is, we all talk digital infrastructure. Now the time has come when we have to create an analogous, ubiquitous infrastructure to provide digital infrastructure. So what I mean to say is that every meter is an infrastructure required. So forget the days of coverage. Now it is the days of capacity. And as Subrata was saying that earlier we were having experience that only the industries and the particular corporates are having the use cases. But now that is not the reality. Every utility, every single person is having a use case of 5G. And rather what the time is coming, that unless you use the big data analysis enabled by the 5G, you won't be able to manage the services, or you won't be able to manage the data management. So that kind of situation is coming. So every individual is a consumer of 5G. That the situation is coming. And one more point, sir, in which we are actually talking with the NHAI, that all moving forwards infrastructure, as I said, from the street furniture point of view, but also 5G is actually giving us one very vital fact, that unless the fiberization is a success story in this country, this 5G is a standalone showpiece or a showpiece in a pocket. So this fiberization has to be taken on a big task. And this fiberization, why I'm giving too much stress on this fiberization is not a one agency job. Forget the one company job. It is not even one agency job. It is cross-sectoral, and fiber has to cut across various agencies, passing from DISCOM to NHAI to other land-owning agencies.
Yes.
Unless this is getting integrated, this 5G story will be incomplete. So that is what probably my submission is. So this will be completely backlit type of infrastructure. One more point which probably I wanted to, as representing IP ones, this definition of active and passive has to be completely relooked, sir. So Dr. Swades, abhi isme jo karna hai na, it is now the time when we have to differentiate between infrastructure and service, not the active infrastructure and the passive infrastructure. So the agency, whosoever is deploying, be it be Indus or be it be anybody else, he is actually providing the hardware as an infrastructure, ready to lit type, जिसको हम लोग बोलते हैं ready to lit infrastructure, so that the service provider comes and plugs and play. And this ready to lit infrastructure should be a shareable infrastructure. So let me tell you from where this example come, and somebody was quoting the example of PM Gati Shakti, and DOT gave me an opportunity to represent the PM Gati Shakti on behalf of Department of Telecom in Ahmedabad as well as in Lucknow, where I represented and found that there are numerous agencies in the country who are laying fibers and nobody is sharing in between. Railway is laying their own fiber, DISCOMs are laying their power grid transmission is laying their own fiber, we are laying our own fiber, Ministry of Home Securities and Lands are laying their own fiber, and now municipal corporations are also started laying fiber. And everybody knows in this meet that 96 pairs of fiber probably no individual, you can say, consumer can consume. So unless these fibers are being shared with each other, this waste, you can say, efforts of deploying fiber as well as efforts will be a criminal wastage. So this collaboration of cross-sectoral, you can say, integration is severely missing. So that is what the need of the hour, sir. Before we come to single line, single window portal, etc. Forget the online things. First of all, ministries put together, and I have used this word very popularly in all our industry association, that always and always there should be a committee called cross-sectoral engagement for digital infrastructure. Unless this cross-sectoral engagement for digital infrastructure is initiated and be the part of every telecom discussions and be the part of every utility discussion, not limiting to telecom, that many times we are limiting our discussion within DOT and TRA itself. So that's why the TRA, and thanks to TRA as well, that Mr. Vaghela has initiated a consultation paper for 5G deployment with the help of cross-sectoral engagement, in which probably Indus is representing in Kandla and Bhopal, I believe so. And we are trying to engage we can say beyond telecom ministries to understand the requirement of 5G and the utility of other street furnitures enabling 5G deployment, so that this becomes a policy guideline for other ministries, not for us, for other ministries to understand the, you can say, the use application of 5G and how they can contribute in their ministry and their assets point of view to support the 5G deployment. This is what I wanted to submit, sir. Back to Dr. Swadesh.
थैंक यू सिंह साहब. एक्चुअली आपने जो इशू रेज किया है, एग्जैक्ट सिमिलर लाइन पे आई वाज रेजिंग द इशू विद आवर कमिश्नर कोलकाता म्युनिसिपल कॉर्पोरेशन. नाउ so far as permission is concerned, when I met with the respective officers after meeting with Commissioner Calcutta Municipal Corporations, they are not really having any objection, but they wanted to see that we do not want to see what is happening in Bhopal or Kerala or in England. You show us maybe 1 or 2 cases, we understand, then we can decide what could be done. So at least state government is not very much apathy to it, but possibly you have rightly said that if you are doing this type of street pole use in a municipal environment, the issues you will be facing would be definitely different when you are doing in a rural environment, or maybe on the PWD roads, or maybe on the national highways. So the issues are different. What I just need to request all of you here, that since very senior officers, even the member in council, member of Calcutta Municipal Corporation has requested that do at least few street poles as a proof of concept in Kolkata under Calcutta Municipal Corporation. So there is Ericsson here, there is Indus here, and earlier there was a Nokia as well as ATC also. And we might be tying up with some TSPs that at least all these big cities or state capitals and UT capitals like your Port Blair, like your Ranchi, Patna and Kolkata, we should have at least one case study, maybe with not such a large scale, 1 square kilometer by 1 square kilometer, maybe around a park, or maybe, I don't know, like say, we are doing a drive test, or whether we have done a drive test on your Gandhi bridge at Patna. So it is almost 3-kilometer bridge. Only one operator is having very good coverage on 4G, but others are not there. So like that type of some situation with a small scale, if we do some proof of concept, then it will be much easier to convince the state government authorities. Because like as you said, that fiber is to be shared. When I took up this issue, that sir, neither you will be able to do this job, nor TSP will be able to do the job. Right. So there should be a specific organization who will be, if required, strengthen the pole, who will be required, change the pole, who will be required, lay the cable along the electricity line, lay the duct, and they will provide infrastructure to all other TSP, including mobile service, including your cable television operators, LCOs. Now, if you go to any street on the Calcutta Municipal Corporation, every light poles have not less than 50 cables, not less than 50 cables. So that means there is a need that along these roads, if one company or unit, then he said, okay, you TRI and DOT decide. I said, this is not possible that DOT and TRI will be able to decide that, okay, this specific infrastructure company, he will be laying the infrastructure. No, it's not like this. So this is a area where we need to rather understand first examine, understand, and then find out what will be the best possible solution. And for that, possibly some kind of proof of concept, what our unrespected and honorable member of the Kolkata Municipal Corporation was telling, there we need to go. So, what I need to understand a little bit about Ranchi, there is a Manoj Kumar ji from Ranchi. Are you there? Manoj Kumar ji from Jharkhand.
Yeah, I am here.
Sir, actually, Manoj Kumar ji is Director IT Department, Director Department of IT and E-Government Jharkhand. मनोज कुमार जी, ये जो रांची स्मार्ट सिटी प्रोजेक्ट का काम हो रहा है, इसमें जो स्ट्रीट फर्नीचर और लाइट पोल्स का बात हो रहा है, इसको यूज करने के बारे में कुछ चर्चा हो रहा है या इसको कैसे यूज किया जाएगा या चेंज किया जाएगा, इसके बारे में कोई आइडिया है सर?
रांची का थोड़ा सा सिचुएशन अलग है. रांची स्मार्ट सिटी प्रोजेक्ट इज अ ग्रीन फील्ड प्रोजेक्ट एक्चुअली. So it is being developed in some portion around 600 acres of land. A greenfield project is there. So there we are having the integrated duct line along the main roads and the by lanes. So, but it is in a very small area. As far as the Ranchi city is concerned,
I understand, but who is laying the duct? Who is laying the duct? Whether the smart city?
It is the contractor of this. L&T is the contractor who is making all the infrastructures, road furnitures and integrated ducts. They are making the integrated ducts, and all the service providers can lay their cable through it, and they will pay some amount to the smart city.
So are they
have chosen?
Manoj Kumar ji, are they proposing to use the street light poles also?
Yeah, they can use, but it is in a very small area actually. Ranchi Municipal Corporation is a different entity, and the Smart City Corporation of Ranchi is a different entity.
Okay,
in fact, Ranchi Municipal Corporation is not implementing the Smart City project. It is the SPV which has been formulated to implement this Smart City project.
Okay, मनोज कुमार जी, हमारे सिंह साहब ने जो बताया, इसके बारे में आप लोग आपका ऑफिस में कुछ चर्चा कीजिए, because what he has said, what he has said that this is very much required. What हमारे जो सिंह साहब ने जो बताया, this is very much required. Even I was discussing with the Kolkata.
कुछ बताना चाहूँगा about the Jharkhand and what is the scenario where as far as the mobile tower policy and other things are concerned. So thank you for inviting me here in this session, and it was a very enlightening session. I was there in the first session also. So we had some technical know-how. I was not knowing about what is to be done in 5G, but now I have certain things in mind, that installations of the smart cells, which is around 400 per square kilometer in number, is very crucial for launching of the 5G. Correct. And we have to use the public space and the public infrastructure for if 5G is to be launched in any city or in any area. So as far as the Jharkhand is concerned, we have a tower policy, and in which district level committee gives the permission. In district level committee, is under the chairmanship of deputy commissioner, and the municipal commissioner or municipal bodies are also part of it. And the electricity department, building construction department, all departments are also, the officials from those departments are also part of this district level committee. And there is a state level committee for ROW project, for optical fiber project. So we have tower policy. In this, we have a portal also. The application is made online itself, and the processing is also done online. And this portal is now integrated with the central portal also. And there is a provision of DIM permission also. And as I understand, Government of India is formulating guidelines for using the infrastructure for 5G. So as and when these guidelines comes to us, we will certainly try to align this policy, incorporating those guidelines into our policy. And in the process, we'll get advice from the urban department and other concerned energy departments, so that they can propose the costing and or the models, what we are talking about, the financial models and all these things. And if any of the company wants to give us some demo in Ranchi or any other city, they are most welcome, I would say.
मनोज कुमार जी थैंक यू। एक्चुअली आपने जो ROW पोर्टल या आपका स्टेट का या सेंटर DOT का जो सेंट्रलाइज पोर्टल का बात कर रहा है, definitely it is a good initiative, and DOT and state government, if they can join or synchronize themselves, it will be definitely very helpful for the TSPs to roll out. But the issue is mainly coming, whatever we are discussing here, that as you have seen, that if in a 1 square kilometer area, 400 light poles are to be used, then definitely 400 light poles cannot be changed. So existing light poles only is to be used. Maybe there are few light poles, maybe out of 400, 100 light poles is to be changed because they are not suitable structurally, or they are very old. But majority of the existing poles is to be used by strengthening or by replacing similar type of poles. So what I will request you, you can discuss with the urban development department. So the Ranchi municipal area, the light poles belongs to electricity department, or it is belonging to municipal department?
Mostly it is the electricity department.
Achha, but in Calcutta is a different. Anyway, no problem. So we have to find out who is the actual owner of the light poles, who is the actual owner of the bus stands for at least municipal area, and then we can discuss, we'll request our TSPs, OEMs and infrastructure providers that at least maybe not in a big, maybe even 1 kilometer road, one main road, maybe in front of your governor's house, or maybe in front of your secretariat, I don't know, okay, or maybe around your stadium. So that stadium is still working? Or
yeah, we have a stadium. We have cricket stadium.
So like that, just maybe one road or something is to be decided, and then some kind of proof of concept is to be done. This will give some kind of confidence to all the parties involved. Along with this will help you as well as DOT and TSPs to make a formula or to formulate process. So whatever Mr. Mitra was telling, that we have to formulate a process. Online portal and all these things is definitely going to come. Without that, it is not going to work because process is very, very complex. So many departments will be involved. So I think it is better to start with. I have requested Singh Saab also. Earlier also I have requested Mr. Kohli from Nokia, and Mitra ji bhi hai from Ericsson. We will be requesting TSPs also. जो हर एक म्यूनिसिपल एरिया में कुछ छोटा प्रूफ ऑफ कॉन्सेप्ट किया जाए, जिससे we will be able to define the process, and that process may be little bit different in Jharkhand compared to Bihar, or maybe compared to West Bengal. But we have to start. We have to start. Otherwise, Eastern zone will be lagging far behind. You can see, sir, that 4 trials are going on. Those are not in Eastern zone. Okay, so I had a serious objection to it in the meeting, even though my TRI office was not very much happy with me. But we can do it. We can do it if we all come together and try to put some force. At least maybe a small proof of concept for a stretch of 1 kilometer road in each municipal corporation can be done. So मनोज कुमार साहब, मैं आपको रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा, आप थोड़ा इस लाइन में चर्चा कीजिए, आगे हम आपसे बात करेंगे.
Noted your point, sir, and appreciate your concern about the Eastern zone, and we'll definitely discuss it with the concerned department.
देखो, हमारे सिटी को हमको ही ठीक करना है, कौन करेगा बताइए? If I am living in a Calcutta city, हम खुद बोलेंगे Calcutta city is the dirtiest city, लेकिन दूसरा कोई बोलेगा तो दिमाग जल जाता है कि नहीं? तो हमारा जो सिटी है, मेरा जो घर है, इसको मुझे ही ठीक करना पड़ेगा. मेरे घर के आसपास जो एरिया है, कौन ठीक करेगा? मुझे ही करना पड़ेगा. तो थैंक यू सो मच. बी विद अस. मुखर्जी साहब, आप कुछ बताएंगे इसके बारे में? मुखर्जी साहब.
हेलो.
मुखर्जी साहब डिस्कनेक्टेड हो गया है. अच्छा, we have Mr. Mihir from Andaman. Our special secretary IT Sarmaji could not join, so Mr. Sisir from Andaman is there. Sisir ji, are you able to hear me? Sisir ji from Andaman. So I think Mukherjee साहब भी मेरे ख्याल से Mukherjee
Yeah,
साहब
no, I'm there. No problem. I have
तो
nothing
अभी
much
आप
to
थोड़ा
add now.
अभी आप थोड़ा समाप्त कीजिए क्या करना चाहिए हम लोगों को, क्योंकि प्रिंसिपल एडवाइजर जो TRI उन्होंने ये बताया, he has given a direction जो आफ्टर दिस वेबिनार कुछ सजेशन हमको TRI को भेजना है, कुछ सजेशन हमको TRI को भेजना है। आप थोड़ा बताइए हम क्या सजेशन भेज सकते हैं TRI को, such that there will be a coordinated efforts by TRAI, DOT and state government departments. आप बताइए।
Well, I think it will take some more time actually. Let us all put our thinking together, or Mitra Saab and all other people who have deliberated in this panel discussion can take some time probably and jot down the points which they feel need special attention. Yes. I feel that a couple of points we can just note each, and then we can pass on to Rai, which thereafter you can compile and then probably send it to your headquarters.
I think it is a better approach. We will jot down something, then we will give it to DOT and state government authorities along with the experts, and then I think some concrete suggestions can go. Yeah, Mitra sir, can we go in this way?
I agree with you, sir. I think similar initiative was done by government of Kerala and with DOT. I think similar thing can be led from East. My only one submission which I'll make, which we have raised even with TRA and DOT when it comes to spectrum is, see, I understand that for giving this infrastructure and collecting the fees, it is a revenue, whether it's for the state or for the urban local body or for Jilla Parishad or Gram Panchayat. I think time has come for us to change the perspective and look this as that if you reduce your input costs, your output is going to be matched. So what I'm trying to suggest is that if the cost of permission to set up this infrastructure is very high, then your 5G infrastructure deployment will happen slow, and the economic benefit of that will get further delayed. What I'm trying to say is that if you take two cities, and now there is enough evidence in the world which shows that if one has made deployment very easy at very low cost or zero cost, by doing a fast 5G rollout, it is going to get higher economic benefits across sectors, bridge digital divide, lot of other sustainable goals can be met compared to some other city which has said put very high input costs due to which the benefits have not come. So I think a change of perspective is needed. Not easy. I understand as an industry it's very easy for us to possibly request, but I think here TRAI and states in the east, if they can take this as an initiative, I think that will become a role model even for rest of the country. Very happy to support you on this, sir.
No, Mitra साहब आप सही कह रहे हैं, but the big question is coming. जो I am fully convinced that state governments are not looking these as a revenue generation opportunities, but at the same time, if there is any direct cost to them, let us assume if the pole is to be strengthened and if the pole is to be replaced. Now, if every TSP is coming and telling, I want to replace this pole, and they replace the pole with their own design, then city will be ugly. So naturally, there is a cost for the city. So that is why I am coming there. That suppose if the pole is to be strengthened, that also is to be done in a uniform manner.
Correct.
Okay. So along a road of 1 kilometer, I will be getting 10 different designs of pole, 10 different way of strengthening, 10 different type of boxes fitted on it. So that is not going to reduce my cost. My cost as a commissioner, Calcutta Municipal Corporation, I will not like that.
Absolutely.
So my point is that there is a cost. Whatever direct cost is involved with the state governments, that is to be definitely paid to them. Now, so far as spectrum is concerned, that is not our purview. But definitely you are correct, sir. Definitely you are correct that spectrum can be given a moratorium for 3, 4, 5 years. That for initial 5 years, spectrum fee, whatever tender decided fee will be there, that initial 5 years that will be given as a subsidy from USOF fund. So you pay the extra spectrum cost. Like say I have a TSP, I have got the auction spectrum, my cost is 50,000 crore. I will be paying 50,000 crore, whatever upfront is to be payment. But if I roll out, the initial 5 years, whatever is the EMI or whatever it is, that I will be getting back from ESO fund. So that type of thing can be done, then there will be accountability also. There will be a cost and income and subsidy will be there. But this is not the area where we can do it. This is not the area where we can do
Sir,
it.
I like to clarify here. I have just used spectrum as an example, but what we are saying is that whether it is spectrum, right of way cost, cost of electricity, and all, these all happen to be the input costs. So if the input cost increases, then that increases the cost of deploying a network. Now, globally, models are being explored is that if you can bring down the input costs, then the network expansion automatically will happen faster because capital can then get deployed on the network. The economic activity which gets generated by deploying a network faster gives the state and the local economy much higher returns than what was anticipated, by higher input cost, because that's what I meant. So it is not specific to one item. For example, even cost of power, if I'm sure this has been a long demand of the industry, that if telecom industry can be given power at a rates at what is given, say, to industry sectors and all, not nearly seen as a business where the cost of power is higher, automatically, because then it will save energy consumption cost, and automatically you will find those savings translate. So that was just as an example into that. So
Okay, sir. I think thank you so much for your suggestions and the guidance. जितेंद्र प्रताप जी फ्रॉम बिहार, आप कुछ बोलना चाहेंगे? मतलब जो अभी हम बात कर रहे थे रांची म्यूनिसिपल कॉर्पोरेशन के बारे में, तो बिहार में जो आपका पटना म्यूनिसिपल कॉर्पोरेशन या इस एरिया में कुछ आप हेल्प कर सकते हैं टू स्टार्ट ए POC ग्रुप ऑफ कॉन्सेप्ट और सम केस स्टडी?
सर POC के रिगार्डिंग सर हम अर्बन डिपार्टमेंट से डिस्कस करके हम बता सकते हैं सर। अगर वो एग्री कर जाएंगे तो फिर मैं डेट डिफाइन करके
हमारे कहना है जो इवनी इट इज ए स्ट्रेच ऑफ 500 मीटर और इवनी इट इज ए स्ट्रेच ऑफ 1 किलोमीटर and if proof of concept is done with no cost to anybody, like say then the urban development department is not charging any money. Whatever reinforcement is to be done, that will be done by the either infrastructure provider or by the TSP. Okay, and if temporarily cable is to be laid, it should be definitely to be laid overhead because underground laying will be very costly.
Right, sir.
So, but at least some kind of knowledge gathering will be there. So that जो मित्र साहब ने बोल रहा था या सिंह साहब ने जो बोल रहा था, जो प्रोसेस डेवलप करना है, what are the different stages है, who are the different departments are involved है, इसको करने में थोड़ा आसान होगा अगर कोई प्रूफ ऑफ कॉन्सेप्ट किया जाएगा.
राइट सर, आई एग्री सर.
हाँ, इफ यू एग्री टू इट, माय ओनली रिक्वेस्ट विल बी जो आप एक बार अर्बन डेवलपमेंट डिपार्टमेंट इन लोगों से बात कीजिए
सर. जो
पटना म्यूनिसिपल कॉर्पोरेशन का कोई एक एरिया आप लोग चूज कर लीजिए
सर.
It could be that Maidan area or it could be that Gandhi Setu जो तीन
JP
सेतु है.
सर.
तो those are the area where you can decide जो कैसे इसको हम कर सकते हैं.
सर.
But Gandhi Setu is not under, it will be under
NHAI.
तो उसमें तो नहीं हो पाएगा.
JP सेतु ठीक रहेगा सर. JP सेतु स्टेट गवर्नमेंट का है.
आपका जो पार्क है ना, बड़ा पार्क है, क्या नाम है?
गांधी मैदान.
वो उसके चारों तरफ अगर कर सकते हो
सर.
So it will give a good look also.
Sir.
And at the time understanding भी आएगा.
Sir. Right sir.
Okay, चलिए, thank you. So शिशिर जी from अंडमान, अगर आप है तो थोड़ा you can join. शिशिर जी from अंडमान नहीं है तो सिंह साहब आप मेरे ख्याल से कंक्लूड कर दीजिए and then we'll close and we'll give a Singh Saab, are you there? Manoj Kumar Singh Saab.
So, which Manoj Kumar sir, from Indus or?
No, Manoj Kumar Singh Saab from Indus है क्या?
So, sir, I'm calling from his office only. He is just gone for.
Okay, no problem. So, I think Amit. Kaushik, I think we can conclude. Kaushik.
So, sir, one proposal from Enders is that as we are already, led IP1s in the Kandla port and Bhopal smart city, we are ready to do, the pilot at the Jharkhand also. Request you to kindly share with us, the locations and the number of
Madam,
tolls
actually
on.
madam, that is to be now discussed with, so myself and the DOT jointly will discuss with the Jharkhand government.
Sure, sir.
And because of the already सिंह साहब जो डायरेक्टर आईटी एंड ई गवर्नेंस गवर्नमेंट ऑफ झारखंड ज्वाइन किया है, उनके साथ कोऑर्डिनेट करके हम कोशिश करेंगे जो कोई एक जगह पे उनका जो भी चॉइसेबल एरिया है,
Yes,
इन
sir.
ए स्मॉल एरिया, एंड दैट कैन बी डेमोस्ट्रेबल। जैसा वो पटना में मैंने गांधी पार्क के बारे में बताया, यहाँ मैंने वो जो एक बड़ा स्टेडियम है, स्टेडियम के बारे में बताया। But then we have to
So
see.
just just one idea that why we are limiting to the street furniture. It's, I mean, why can't we develop a project under the Gati Shakti and include, whatever the cross sectorial infrastructure is there.
मैडम वो भी कर सकते हैं डेफिनेटली, मतलब देयर इज नो स्काई इज ओनली द लिमिट, बट क्वेश्चन
Absolutely,
है,
sir.
नो क्वेश्चन यही है मैडम, जो हमने जो अगेन आई एम गिविंग यू द एग्जांपल ऑफ कोलकाता म्युनिसिपल कमीशन, तो कमिश्नर साहब ने जो बताया, जो देखो भाई ये हमारा काम नहीं है, सो दैट मीन्स इफ यू वांट टू डू, देन वी मेट वन मेयर इन काउंसिल मेंबर एंड मेंबर सेड ओके ठीक है तुम कुछ करके दिखाओ, तो हम उसको, दैट मींस जो दिखता है वो बेचता है, ठीक है, सो इफ यू कैन शो समथिंग, no, but then my point is that if you want to do that, we are not stopping you, we will be extremely glad to coordinate, go and beg with state government, go and beg with DOT. Our role is only that, look, the infrastructure development part is basically being looked after by DOT and basically the TSPs, okay. But TRI,
So we'll request some Manoj sir.
TRI will be doing a part where TRI will be doing a coordination with TSP, infrastructure provider, state government and DOT. And if you feel that okay, that type of things can be done, madam, I will be really glad. आप एक छोटा मोटा कुछ राइटर भेज सकते हैं, जिस जिस लाइन में आप करना चाहेंगे, तो उसको हम स्टेट गवर्नमेंट और झारखंड से लेंगे, टेक अप करेंगे।
Absolutely, sir. So
आप एक
we'll share.
छोटा कुछ राइटर अगर हमें भेज सकते हैं ना, हम उसको स्टेट गवर्नमेंट से टेक अप करेंगे, जिसमें आप कॉन्सेप्चुअल को यूज करना चाह रहा है, जिसमें आप चाह रहा है हो सकता है कंप्लीट जैसा केबल लेइंग and including everything जो चाह रहा है, so that could be a possible.
Sir, madam was very interested to start with Calcutta, but as per our experience, it will take time. So since Jharkhand has plenty of people, let us start with Jharkhand. We can coordinate.
मैडम आपको जहाँ सुइटेबल आप कहेंगे, हमको तो सब जगह में चाहिए, ये चारों स्टेट।
सर हमारे टावर भी हर 200 मीटर पे अक्रॉस पैन इंडिया है, सो झारखंड में व्हाटएवर लोकेशंस, आई मीन यू पीपल फील दैट वी विल बी गुड फॉर शोकेसिंग।
नहीं मैडम, यही तो हमने रिक्वेस्ट किया, इससे पहले एटीसी थे, अभी आप लोग हैं, सो देयर आर 2 OEM, Nokia and Ericsson, there are 2 main I think IP providers, ATC and Indus। तो आप लोग अगर कुछ कॉम्बिनेशन करके टीएसपी 4 को लेके, हम चाह रहे हैं चारों टीएसपी आप लोगों से कंबाइन करके हर एक जगह में कुछ करे, मे बी इन ए स्मॉल स्केल, नॉट इन ए बिग स्केल, क्योंकि वन स्मॉल स्केल में होगा तभी हम स्टेट गवर्नमेंट का जो डिफरेंट अथॉरिटीज है, सी यू हैव टू अप्रिशिएट स्टेट गवर्नमेंट का भी जो अर्बन डेवलपमेंट डिपार्टमेंट है, पावर डिपार्टमेंट है एंड म्युनिसिपल अफेयर्स डिपार्टमेंट है, देन आईटी डिपार्टमेंट है, they work with their own agenda.
Absolutely, yeah.
As soon as you come with this proposal, they feel that it is their additional load, and they are also very much hard pressed. I am not denying. तो लेकिन छोटा कोई लेके, मतलब instead of taking a big, if we take with a small one, मतलब small step, अगर छोटा स्टेप लेंगे तो मेरे ख्याल से आगे बढ़ पाएंगे और उसको दिखा भी पाएंगे। But if you want to go for an integrated model, हमें कोई इतराज नहीं है, we will be very glad. But as far as my experience says, जब आप छोटा मॉडल पे जाइए तो उसमें आपको तुरंत दिखाई देगा आउटपुट दिखाई देगा। राय साहब आप डिस्कनेक्ट हो गए थे, केएन राय साहब।
मैं ये कहना चाह रहा हूँ सर कि जो स्टेट गवर्नमेंट्स है ना, वहाँ पे कोई नोडल इस तरह का होना चाहिए कि जो भी एक डिपार्टमेंट से मतलब नोडल है, तो नोडल की तरह उसको मतलब राइट्स होने चाहिए कि बाकी सारे डिपार्टमेंट से वो कर पाए, क्योंकि हमारे ये जो इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर प्रोवाइडर्स हैं या टीएसपी से या एसपी से, अब वो नंबर ऑफ ऑफिसेस में मतलब ब्यूरोक्रेटिक चक्कर में पड़ेंगे तो दे विल lose a lot of time and that is not good. So state
Correct,
government
sir.
should have some nodal thing जिससे कि वो सिंगल विंडो टाइप का हो कि भाई ये हम जमा कर दिए हैं, उनको ये नहीं कि आप फाइल वहां पे जाते जाइए फिर फलाना क्या जाइए. इट इज वेरी डिफिकल्ट ऑन
सर
नंबर
आप
ऑफ
सर आप
एप्लीकेशन विल बी
सही कह
कमिंग
रहे
एंड
हैं.
डिफिकल्ट.
आप सही कह रहे हैं. जब मैंने आईटी डिपार्टमेंट को बात किया स्पेसिफिकली ऑन दिस वेबिनार एंड सेमिनार, आईटी डिपार्टमेंट बोल रहे हैं सर जो आप स्पेसिफिकली इसी
नहीं,
पे
मुझे ये
करना
लग
है.
रहा है कि आपको इसमें जो आपने किया ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ दैट यू शुड वी शुड राइट टू फ्रॉम योर साइड गो टू सेक्रेटरी थ्रू राइट टू डीओटी हेडक्वार्टर
करेक्ट
एंड
सर.
from secretary's side something should go in writing, then the decision makers of the states they will take some action on that,
नो
because
हमारे
many
प्रिंसिपल
times what
एडवाइजर
happens
सर.
that if we are trying to push on something, हाँ तो वो थोड़ा सा देखना पड़ेगा हमें कि सारा कुछ चैनलाइज होके टीआरआई के थ्रू डीओटी हेडक्वार्टर पहुंचे और वहां से फिर
तो
एक चिट्ठी चली जाए सारे
जैसे
स्टेट
अभी
चीफ सेक्रेटरीज को कि उस तरह करे हो.
एब्सोल्युटली सर, जैसे अभी कांडला एयरपोर्ट और 4 लोकेशंस पे जैसे
आई थिंक आई एम
पायलट हो रहा है, सो दैट
क्लियर नाउ.
यस सर. सो 4 लोकेशंस पे जैसे सर ऑलरेडी पायलट इनिशिएटिव हो गया है. सो दैट इनिशिएटिव वाज टेकन बाय द टीआरआई. दे फॉर्म्ड अ वर्किंग ग्रुप including the DOT, TRAI, MOUH, state people from the state, and IP1 and COI, and the TSPs they have chosen the IP1 of their choice, and that's how I mean that we have got the locations.
मैडम वो बहुत बड़ा लेवल पे हो रहा है. हम बहुत छोटा है. यहाँ देखिए कलकत्ता में हम रीजनल ऑफिस में है और मैन पावर इज ऑल्सो वेरी लिमिटेड. तो इसीलिए हम चाह रहे हैं हम भी चारों स्टेट कैपिटल में करना चाहेंगे, बट एट ए स्मॉलर स्केल with a very limited focus so that we will be able to demonstrate. तो आप अगर कुछ इंटीग्रेटेड करना चाहेंगे झारखंड में तो वी आर वेरी ग्लैड. आप थोड़ा कुछ एक प्रपोजल बना के हमको दीजिए जिसको हम टीआरआई को भेजेंगे एंड वी विल बी टॉकिंग टू द स्टेट गवर्नमेंट अथॉरिटी आल्सो, because I am finding that Jharkhand state government is very very I should say the positive and they are taking lot of proactive decisions. तो उसमें हो पाएगा. आई एम श्योर मैडम हो पाएगा. लेकिन मैं आपसे यही रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा जो छोटा छोटा स्टेप लेके करिए. एक इंटीग्रेटेड बड़ा स्टेप में फेलियर होने का चांस ज्यादा है. एंड वंस यू फेल देन यू आर इन बैड नेम. वंस यू फेल यू आर इन बैड नेम. तो आई थिंक इट इज ओके. मुखर्जी साहब अगर आप कुछ कहेंगे तो, नहीं तो वी विल फिनिश इट.
Yeah, that's all. I think we can close now. Thanks a lot.
Okay, चलो. तो अमित आई थिंक वी शुड क्लोज नाउ.
Well, sir, let's close this session. So before concluding this session, I would like to request our joint advisor, Sri Amit Ghoshal, to deliver the vote of thanks. Over the session to Sri Amit Ghoshal.
Thank you, Mr. Datta, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed a great pleasure to deliver the vote of thanks on behalf of Tri-Regional Office, Kolkata, for this event. First of all, we express our sincere thanks to Sri Rajiv Sinha, Principal Advisor, NSL, Tri Headquarter, for delivering the keynote address on this occasion, highlighting the pivotal role telecommunication is going to play for common masses, as well as digitalized industry and need for ubiquitous connectivity. We express our deep gratitude to our special guest, Sri Randhir Kumar, IS Secretary, IT and Electronics, Government of West Bengal, for his august presence and emphasizing the need for enhanced collaboration between all stakeholders. We are grateful to our special invitees and speakers who have accepted our invitation to participate in this webinar. We feel honored to have distinguished speaker Professor Pritam Kumar of IIT Patna, Dr. Amit Kumar Datta from IIT Kharagpur, Sri Sanjeev Kohli, Head Pre-Sales of Nokia Telecom, and Sri Ashish Mittal, GM Optical Division, Mr. ATC, amongst us, for sharing key insight about the use cases of street furniture for deployment of small cells in 5G technology, which we hope that it will be very much beneficial for all in understanding the subject. We would like to extend our sincere thanks and gratitude to Sri Kaushik Mukherjee, Director Rural, DOT West Bengal LSA, Sri K.N. Rai, Director Technical, DOT Bihar LSA, Sri Manoj Kumar, Department of IT, Jharkhand, Sri Jitendra Pratapji from IT Department, Government of Bihar, Sri Subrata Mitra, VP and GM Government Account, Messrs. Erickson, and Sri Manoj Kumar Singh, Chief Regulatory Officers, Messrs. Indus Towers, for their gracious presence in this event. We thank all our speakers for representing their perspectives with valuable views and sharing their experiences on the topic, which not only enables us to visualize the challenges ahead, but also the way outs from them. We hope that all stakeholders, especially the students, will reap the benefit from this session. We heartily express our sincere thanks to all the participants, including various officers from West Bengal, Bihar, Jharkhand, Andaman state governments, and central government organizations, the representative of telecom service providers and infra providers, consumer advocacy groups from academia, and of course, general consumers who had attended the program. Our due apology, we cannot take individual name because of shortage of time. Thank you all to all to make this webinar possible with your opinions and views. Finally, I express my sincere thanks to Dr. S.K. Samanto, Advisor TRI, Regional Office, Kolkata, for his leadership and guidance for making this program from taking safe till its fruition. My sincere thanks to all my colleagues, Sri Niloy Dotto, Sri Devjit Saha, and Sri Abhijit Chatterjee for their excellent support to conduct this event. And not but the least, we sincerely extend our gratitude to our technical partner, Yarmit platform, throughout this session for their cooperation and support. So once again, thank you all for your patient hearing. Have a nice day. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Wish a very happy Holi to all of you in advance. Have a nice day. Thank you. Stay safe.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.